Hello students, welcome to the fifth session of your chapter number 7, that will be structural organization in animals. In last sessions we did study about the morphology and anatomy of earthworm. So in today's session we will be studying about the morphology as well as anatomy of a frog. So in the screen you can see a frog here. So what is a frog or what kind of organism it is? So frogs are amphibians. What is an amphibian? So amphibians, these belong to phylum Chordata. Amphibia is a class which belongs under Chordata. When it comes to amphibians, they have a special character because of which one they can swim as well as live in land. That means they will be restricted to fresh water only, as well as they can lead their life in land also. Andre ಇವುಗಳು ನೀರಲ್ಲೂ ವಾಸಿಸ್ತವೆ ಹಾಗೆ ಭೂಮಿಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ರೀಜನ್ ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ or terrestrial region ಅಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂಡ ವಾಸಿಸ್ತವೆ. These have dual nature where they can live both in fresh water as well as in land. That is why they are termed amphibians. When it comes to their characters, these amphibians will be largely cold-blooded organisms. So we have one more name for this cold-blooded organism, that will be poikilotherms. So cold-blooded organisms are also called poikilotherms. So what is a cold-blooded organism? Here the organism adjusts its internal environment according to that of external. ಒಳಗಡೆಯ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಅನ್ನು ಅಥವಾ ಒಳಗಡೆಯ ಎನ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಅನ್ನು ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಎನ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ಗೆ ತಕ್ಕದಾಗಿ ಮೇಂಟೈನ್ ಮಾಡುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನು ಪಾಯ್ಕಿಲೋಥರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಇಫ್ ದ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟರ್ನಲ್ ಎನ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ಡ್, ದ ಇಂಟರ್ನಲ್ ಎನ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸಸ್ ದ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್, or vice versa. That means if it is reduced, the internal environment also starts to get reduced. That is one of the important character. These are cold-blooded organisms. Next is they have a special characteristic of aestivation. Aestivation ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಕಾಮನ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದನ್ನ ಸಮ್ಮರ್ ಸ್ಲೀಪ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. What is a summer sleep? So whenever a season of higher temperature appears, the organisms cannot tolerate, especially the frogs cannot tolerate that high temperature. So ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಹೈ ಟೆಂಪರೇಚರ್ ಅಥವಾ ಸಮ್ಮರ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಈ ಫ್ರಾಗ್ಸ್ಗಳು they will undergo hiding. That hiding is called aestivation. ಈ ಹೈಡಿಂಗ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವುಗಳು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತವೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಇಡೀ ಸೀಸನ್, ಹೋಲ್ ಸಮ್ಮರ್ ಸೀಸನ್ they spend by sleeping. So while they sleep, their respiratory rate, their circulatory rate, their metabolic rate, everything will be reduced so that they won't be feeling any hunger or anything. So their whole season sleep won't be disturbed. That is why aestivation helps them in overcoming the summer season. Some of the few breeds also undergo the sleep in the winter season, what is called hibernation. They also have a character of camouflaging or changing their color. So this characters what I have told, it is not restricted to except the cold-blooded or poikilotherms. Except this particular character, aestivation and camouflaging, this is restricted to only few species. Not all frogs show both of the character. When it comes to camouflaging, camouflaging means it is changing of body color. So some of the frog species have the ability to change their body color so that they can scare away the enemies or they will be mimicking something. So these camouflaging is a character which you can see as a character for protecting themselves as well as predating the prey. So these are the special characters which can you find restricted to frog. The common Indian species will be Rana tigrina. This is the common Indian species, that is Rana tigrina. Next we will study about the morphology of frog. So if you see a frog here, you can see that these have a dorsal green, that is olive green color, whereas ventrally they are pale yellow. They have a dark green or olive green color in their dorsal side and a pale yellow in the ventral side. If you see a frog, they have a very soft mucus filled skin. Their skin is slippery, soft, as well as mucus that keeps on, or that mucus keeps on appearing on the skin. This is to maintain the temperature of their body. As they can live both in land and water, frogs never drink water. They do not drink water. While they consume the food, some amount of water will be transferred into their body. Their body is divided into head and trunk. You can see there in the diagram that there is a head as well as a trunk, but the absence of neck as well as tail. They do not have neck or they do not have tail. There is an exception here. Tail is present in case of frog, but only in their larval stage or in the tadpole stage. As the frog becomes adult, the tadpoles will start to shed its tail. So they have, or their body is divided into head as well as trunk. When it comes to head, so in the diagram you can see that in the head region you can see a bulged eye. They have a pair of bulged eyes which are protected by nictitating membrane. This is a covering which protects the eye when the frog is in the water. Head alli ಒಂದು ಪೇರ್ ಬಲ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಐಸ್ಗಳು ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಈ ಬಲ್ಜ್ಡ್ ಐಸನ್ನು ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಕ್ಟಿಟೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಇರ್ತವೆ. ಈ ನಿಕ್ಟಿಟೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ಫ್ರಾಗ್ ನೀರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವಾಗ ಕಣ್ಣಿನ ಪ್ರೊಟೆಕ್ಷನನ್ನು ನಿಕ್ಟಿಟೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಮೆಂಬ್ರೇನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೆ. Next, when it comes to the mouth, they have a semicircular terminal mouth. Their mouth is terminal. It is semicircular and they have a bilobed tongue within. Inside the mouth, they have a bilobed retractile tongue. ಈ bilobed retractile tongue ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, if any organism, if imagine that this is the prey here and this is the frog mouth. So they have a bilobed tongue which just goes and attaches to the prey, and the prey is stuck to the tongue and the tongue is pulled back. This property of the tongue is called retractile. This retractile process or retractile tongue, that is bilobed tongue, it is present within the mouth. Above the mouth, they have a pair of nostrils. These nostrils help in respiration in case of frogs. Just behind the eye, they have a small opening that is called tympanum. So they have a small opening just behind the eyes which is called tympanum. So there are two eyes and two tympanums. So this tympanum helps in hearing. They do not have any external ear pinna like us. Instead, they have simple openings which helps in taking up the sound wave so that the frog can hear. Their body, that too trunk, it has 4 limbs. 2 are forelimbs and 2 are hind limbs. So if you compare the length, hind limbs are longer compared to the forelimbs. In forelimb, there are 4 digits. That means there are 4 digits or fingers. Whereas in case of hind limbs, there are 5 digits. So finger like structures are digits anta karitivi. So trunk has 4 limbs, out of which 2 are present in the front, that is called forelimb, and it is having 4 digits. Whereas in the back region or in the abdomen region, there are 2 hind limbs which are longer compared to the forelimb and has 5 digits. These limbs have webbed feet anta karitivi. This, because of its webbed feet, it helps in swimming. Other characters of this hind limbs and forelimbs will be burrowing, jumping, walking, hopping. All these functions are carried by this both forelimb as well as hind limbs. When it comes to the sexual dimorphism in case of frogs, what is a sexual dimorphism? Sexual dimorphism means you can easily identify morphologically seeing a male frog as well as a female frog. So that is what is called sexual dimorphism. When it comes to sexual dimorphism in case of frog, you can identify a male based on, so a male can be identified based on its vocal sac. Normally in rainy season, you might have seen frogs croaking in the night. This croaking sound is produced only by male because of their special vocal sac, but female cannot produce any croaking sound. Whereas apart from this character, there is one more character which is called presence of copulating or nuptial pad. Presence of copulating pad or nuptial pad, it is a common character in case of male. So where are this copulating or nuptial pad present? These are present in first digit of the forelimb, or you can say thumb region of the forelimb. Forelimb alli 4 digit irutte. Ee 4 digit alli sandiruvanthadu thumb region alli ee copulating pad athava nuptial pad anta karitivi. Nuptial pad are present in case of male frogs. Copulating or nuptial pads are present in the thumb region of the forelimb. 4 digit irutte forelimb alli, adaralli thumb region alli you can find this copulating or nuptial pads, which help in reproduction in case of this particular frogs. So that is why these both are the characters which are restricted to male frogs. That is how you can easily identify a male as well as a female frog. These both characters are absent in female frogs. So that's about the morphology of frog. Once again to discuss, when it comes to frogs normally have a dorsal green color and a ventral pale yellow color. Their body or their skin is very soft, slippery because of presence of mucus. Frogs never consume any amount of water. As they live both in land and water, the water supply is done along with the food. When it comes to their body is divided into head and trunk, absence of neck as well as tail. But tail is restricted to their tadpole stage or larval stage. When it comes to the head region, there are pair of eyes, that is bulged eyes, which is protected by nictitating membrane, especially in water. Behind the eye, there is a small opening called tympanum, which helps in hearing. They have a semicircular mouth which is present terminal, and inside the mouth they have a bilobed tongue, that is a retractile bilobed tongue. Above the mouth they have a small pinholes, that is pair of pinholes will be present. These are nothing but nostrils which helps in respiration. A sexual dimorphism can be identified between male as well as a female frog. That means you can get the morphological difference, where male frogs have large vocal sacs which produces croaking sound, especially during rainy season. When it comes to one more character, they have copulating pads or nuptial pads which are present in their forelimb, especially in the thumb region, which helps in reproduction. These both characters are restricted only to male. So that's all about the morphology of frog. Next we'll be studying about the anatomy of frog in detail. So we'll be covering here the digestive system, respiratory system, circulatory system, the excretory system, the control and coordination, and finally the reproductive system. So first we'll start with the alimentary canal in case of frog. In the screen, you can see the alimentary canal in case of frog. So frogs are carnivorous organisms. Carnivorous organisms anta ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾಂಸಾಹಾರಿಗಳು. They feed on small insects to obtain nutrition. These have a short alimentary canal. They have a short alimentary canal because they have a reduced intestine. They have a very small or reduced intestine. That is why they have a short alimentary canal. When it comes to the first part of their alimentary canal, it will be mouth. So mouth is present terminally, within which they have a bilobed tongue. So this bilobed tongue is present, and the food, once they consume any food, that is transferred into the buccal cavity. So from the buccal cavity, they straight away gets transferred into the pharynx. So pharynx, it is a common passage for both food as well as air. This pharynx push the food into the esophagus. So esophagus is once again a very short tube. From the esophagus, the food is directly transferred into the stomach. So stomach, it contains concentrated HCl. So they have concentrated HCl along with some of the gastric juices. So once the gastric juices, concentrated HCl combines with the food what is transferred into the stomach, they form a partially digested food which is called chyme. So the chyme is produced in the stomach, which is partially digested. Once the partially digested food is present in the stomach, it gets transferred into the intestine for absorption purpose. Once they reach the intestine, so there will be liver which produces bile, which is stored in the gallbladder. Pancreas also produces pancreatic juice with digestive enzymes which acts on lipids. All the juices from the pancreas as well as the bile from the liver opens up into the intestine, that is the duodenum of the intestine, where there will be complete digestion of carbohydrates, proteins as well as lipids. Once the digestion is completed, there are villi and microvilli which helps in absorption of all these food. Once the absorption of all these food takes place, the remaining substance, what is not absorbed, will be transferred into the rectum. From the rectum, they are ejected out through a small opening which is called cloaca. So that's about the rough idea about the anatomy. Once again to explain, so anatomy, especially the alimentary canal of the frog, contains mouth which accepts or consumes the food. The organism frog here is a carnivorous organism which eats on small flies as well as insects. These have a very short reduced alimentary canal because of the reduced size of the intestine. The mouth consumes the food with the help of a bilobed tongue. Next, transfers the food into the buccal cavity, then into the pharynx. From the pharynx, only the food is pushed into a short tube called esophagus. This esophagus transfers the food into the stomach, where it contains concentrated HCl as well as gastric juices. These both help in softening the food and makes it semi-digested or produces chyme. This chyme is now transferred into the intestine, where the pancreas as well as liver contributes their juices. Liver produces bile. This bile is stored in the gallbladder before it is released into the intestine. Whereas pancreas, it also produces pancreatic juices along with digestive enzymes. This digestive enzymes and pancreatic juice help in digesting the fat. So these are called fat emulsifier. So in together, because of bile as well as pancreatic juice, the food is now reduced from complex carbohydrates, proteins as well as fat into simple absorbable forms. Carbohydrates get converted into sugars, proteins get converted into amino acids, fats get converted into glycerol and fatty acid. Once this complex is broken down into absorbable form, these are absorbed with the help of villi and microvilli which are present in the intestine. Those which are not digested, those which cannot be digested, which are not absorbed, will be released or will be transferred into the rectum and released through an opening called cloaca. So that is about the anatomy of the alimentary canal. Next we will have to study about the respiratory system. When it comes to respiration in case of frogs, respiration is not restricted to one organ or one part of the body. Based on what kind of situation a frog is in, their respiration keeps on varying. When it comes to respiration, they undergo respiration by three different ways. One is cutaneous, another is pulmonary. Cutaneous respiration means it is respiration through skin. You can find this type of respiration through skin, especially in the aestivation or hibernation or when the organism is in water. So here cutaneous respiration means it is respiration through the skin, which can be seen in either their extreme conditions like aestivation, hibernation or when the organism is in water. The oxygen, especially the dissolved oxygen, gets transferred into the body with the help of a process called diffusion. When the frog is in water, the dissolved oxygen present in the water undergoes a process of diffusion and gets transferred into the body of the organism through the skin. So the same cutaneous type of respiration can be identified while the organism is in either summer sleep as well as winter sleep. Next, pulmonary respiration includes respiration through lung, respiration through buccal cavity when the organism is in land. When it comes to the position or placement of this lung, it is present or it is restricted in a region that is thorax region. So near or between the forelimbs, these pair of lungs are present which are pink in color, which are sac-like, which helps in storing the air and ejecting out the carbon dioxide. So two types of respiration is present, that is cutaneous type of respiration and pulmonary type of respiration. Cutaneous respiration includes respiration through skin. So this type of respiration can be seen in aestivation, hibernation or when the organism is in water. So through skin they undergo the process of diffusion where the dissolved oxygen from the water gets transferred into the body of the frog through the skin. Next, when it comes to pulmonary respiration, it includes either lungs or buccal cavity. Lung, it is present in the thorax region between the forelimbs. They are pinkish color, sac-like structure which helps in exchange of gases. Apart from this adult frog type of respiration, you can also find that frogs, especially when they are in tadpole stage or their larval stage, respire through a process or respire through an organ, that is gills. So when they are in the tadpole stage living in the water, these respire through gills. So that's about the brief idea about respiration in case of frogs. These undergo cutaneous respiration through skin, pulmonary respiration that is through lungs or buccal cavity, and in tadpole stage they undergo respiration through gills. So that is about the respiration. Next we will have to study about the circulation in case of frogs. Circulation in case of frog undergoes or takes place through a closed circulatory system. So what is a closed circulatory system? It involves the body fluid being carried with the help of blood vessels as well as capillaries. So closed circulatory system is present in case of frogs, which include the blood vessels as well as the capillaries. So here the heart is muscular heart, but has 3 chambers. They have a muscular heart with 3 chambers. These 3 chambers will be auricle, and ventricle. So right auricle, left auricle and a ventricle. There are 2 auricles and 1 ventricles. To the heart, the blood is brought through the vena cavas. So the superior and inferior vena cavas are present, which gets the blood into the heart. So the blood is brought into the heart with the help of large vessels called vena cava. The pure blood reaches, or partially pure you can say, because there is only 1 ventricle. So there is mixing of the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood in the ventricles. So it is partially pure. This partially pure blood is transferred into the different parts of body with the help of arteries. So heart is a muscular heart which is 3 chambered, contains 2 auricles, 1 ventricle. Heart ke blood baruvantadu from the vena cavas. Vena cava dinda blood heart ಒಳಗಡೆ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಅದೇ ಹಾರ್ಟ್ ಇಂದ ಪ್ಯೂರಿಫೈ ಆಗಿರುವಂತಹ ಬ್ಲಡ್ ಆರ್ಟರೀಸ್ ಮುಖಾಂತರ ಬಾಡಿಯ ಎಲ್ಲ ಭಾಗಕ್ಕೆ ರೀಚ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಸೊ ದ blood is drawn inside the heart with the help of vena cavas. They are taken away through the arteries. Here ventricles, they open up into a special vessel called the ventricles open up into a particular vessel called conus arteriosus, which opens in the ventral side of the body. So here the ventricles open up into conus arteriosus, which is present in the ventral side. So circulation also includes lymphatic system. This lymphatic system includes lymph channels and lymph nodes. These are also the part of circulatory system. It is called lymphatic system, including lymph channels and lymph nodes. Along with this one, it also contains 2 portal system, that will be hepatic portal system and renal portal system. So hepatic portal system and renal portal system, these are present in the abdomen of the frog. So when it comes to supplying of blood to the kidney, liver, intestine, both the hepatic portal and renal portal system play a major role. Hepatic portal system supplies the blood to the liver as well as the intestine, and renal portal system supplies the blood to the kidney, so that everywhere the blood is properly reached. Both of this hepatic and renal portal system are restricted to the abdomen part of the frog. Once again coming to the circulatory system. So here the circulation is a closed type of circulation. This closed type of circulation means it includes the flow of the body fluid within the blood vessels as well as the blood channels. They have a muscular heart with 3 chambers. These 3 chambers will be 2 auricles and 1 ventricles. The blood is brought into the heart with the help of vena cava, and they are transferred into different parts of the body with the help of arteries. This ventricle opens up into conus arteriosus, which is present in the ventral side of the body. Apart from this one, it also includes a lymphatic system. This lymphatic system includes lymph channels and lymph nodes. All these three form the lymphatic system. Apart from this, there are also portal system, which is called hepatic portal system and renal portal system. Hepatic portal system supplies the blood to the liver and the intestine, and renal portal system supplies the blood to the kidney. This is how the circulatory system works. Now when it comes to the blood, we should know the components of blood. Blood includes plasma and cells. When it comes to cells, they will be RBC, WBC and platelets. When it comes to RBCs, these are also called erythrocytes, and WBC, these are called leukocytes. So RBCs are red in color because of presence of hemoglobin, and these have nucleus, that means these are nucleated with hemoglobin pigment in them. These are the components of blood. So in together, circulation takes place because of pumping of the muscular heart. Once again, to discuss, the circulation is a closed type of circulation with the 3-chambered muscular heart which undergoes pumping so that the circulation process is completed. It includes the lymphatic system, it also includes the portal system, because of which one the blood is supplied throughout the body. Apart from this one, they have vena cavas which gets the blood into the heart, and arteries which takes away the blood from the heart. They also have ventricles which open up into conus arteriosus, which is present in the ventral side. The blood includes plasma and cells. Cells will be RBC, WBC, and also they have platelets, where RBCs are called erythrocytes and WBCs are leukocytes. RBCs are nucleated with hemoglobin in them. So that's all for today's class. We'll wind up the session. So in today's class, we have discussed the morphology of frog regarding their body structure and sexual dimorphism in frog, as well as we have discussed about the anatomy, where we have covered about alimentary canal, respiratory system and circulatory system. So in next class, we will be discussing about the sensory organs, we will be discussing about the excretory system as well as the reproductive system in case of frogs. Thank you.